Hello, everybody. Dan Lucas here, and welcome to day 21 of our 50 States in 50 Days. And today we are doing Illinois. And Illinois was admitted to the Union on December 3rd, 1818. So it was about a year after Mississippi. And it looks like that's sort of a beginning trend. So it looks like, I'm guessing, that they started to, admit states to the union from the Louisiana Purchase and just did them once per year. At least that's what it looks like. But, we'd have to look that up and see if that's correct. But just something I noticed. So anyway, I was born and raised in Illinois. I was born in a suburb of Chicago called Hinsdale, and I lived there until I went to college at Illinois Wesleyan in Bloomington, Illinois. And then I worked in Chicago for a couple of years, and then I moved to Atlanta. So I only paid taxes in Illinois for a couple of years. I mean, I had other jobs and paid taxes there starting when I was 16, but I didn't even really consider it at that point, right? I have paid taxes there, familiar with it. It's a state that goes through lots of changes, some bad, some good, but it's a very, I would say, fluid type state. I mean, it changes a lot, and very aggressive business culture and all that stuff, but also a lot of beauty too, and a lot of important things go on, especially in the southern part of the state, and a lot of farming that goes on, and that's how we eat. So. A lot of good people too. A lot of good, real people, hardworking people. So, anyway, I know that they have been recently raising their state income tax rates pretty heavily, and I was expecting to not see maybe a huge abundance of tax credits, and I really don't. But I'm going to say this is quality over quantity. And I'm not comparing the quality of their credits to any other state necessarily. What I'm saying is they don't have a lot of credits, but it looks like the ones they do have are solid. Like they're good credits, and they're not real nichey and sort of, hard to understand and only for a very specific person in a specific circumstance. So, so in that respect, I was pleasantly surprised. So let's go through them. So we have the Illinois Angel Investment Credit Program, and this encourages investment in innovative early state companies, or early state like early stage companies, to help companies obtain working capital needed to grow in Illinois. So basically, they're saying that companies that need capital to grow, that are kind of in infancy, I guess, if you will, if you are investing in their business in an equity capacity, not debt, you can get a investment credit. And it looks like the program actually is ongoing. So you can probably get involved in a fund. Most of them have funds. Most of these angel investor credits have funds, or at a minimum are the companies, they get a certain amount of kind of earmarked amount of money that they can raise and offer the angel credits to the investors, that you can get this ongoing. And so if you put it in a fund, you can be getting this credit every year, right? So it's can be very attractive because venture capital is risky by nature. It's I would in general consider it to be higher risk, higher return or a higher return expectation than even private equity. So adding these little incentives on there doesn't hurt and can definitely buffer some of the deals that go bad and boost the returns on the ones that don't. So it's a I can tell you it's a really nice thing to have in your sales pitch, versus your competitors not having it. Okay. All right, so then they have the Data Centers Investment Program, and that provides owners and operators with exemptions from a variety of state local taxes. And we've seen data centers before in other states. A lot of states are pushing to have data centers, and you don't have to necessarily be in the state. They just want you to set up shop in Illinois. Okay, I mean they're looking for tax revenue, so you're not going to like let you do it tax free necessarily. There are some exemptions, et cetera, and there can be for different areas they're trying to build up. Of course, there's a payoff for them. So they're trying to create a win-win situation, would be the assumption. But yeah, if you have a data center in Illinois and you're not getting the credit, you can get it. And or the other incentives they have available. Or if you're looking to place a data center somewhere and seeing which state is most advantageous, just put Illinois on the list. It's not the only one by any means. There's a lot of them out there, but put it on the list. Okay, there's let's see, there's the Economic Development for a Growing Economy Tax Credit Program called EDGE. That's the acronym for it. It provides annual corporate tax credits to qualifying businesses to help create jobs, investment, and training programs in Illinois. Cool. I'd have to read more about that and really dig into it, but suffice to say, there are incentives to grow your business, which is creating jobs, investment, probably capital expenditures, training programs to make people more productive. That's not atypical. I see that in a lot of states. I would, if I was an Illinois-based business and I could take advantage of some of these credits, I would look at that to see if not only are there things I have done that could qualify for a credit and I just missed it, or there are things that I've been thinking of doing and now that I see what the benefit is on the tax side, I definitely want to do it, or some things that I really didn't think about doing but should. And now that there's a tax credit, I'm going to think seriously about it. So lots of reasons to look at that list. We have the Illinois Enterprise Zones Program, stimulates economic growth. So that's a geographic, we've talked about this in the past, that it's a giving people a hand up to bring a certain area that might be struggling economically, bring them up and encourage people to invest in it, and giving them some incentive and some extra return or some even guaranteed return to do so. Okay, because there's people want to invest in the hot areas, right? The hot properties. They don't want to invest in a struggling area, so you have to give them more return, right? And it can't necessarily come from the private sector, so they're subsidizing. All right, there's a film production tax credit, 30% tax credit on your film spending. I mean, this list looks basic, kind of vanilla. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a robust credit. It can be lots of money. And sometimes people even calculate the tax credit in advance if they're in that industry and can raise capital using the tax credits as collateral. You might be able to double dip on the angel investor credit and the film production. Well, it's the tax credit that you're going to be owed back as part of the production of the film, and you can use that as collateral for any debt financing. Anybody putting in money to loan you to get the movie started, or whatever the video content is. They have a high impact business program. It says it looks like it's a program, but there are some tax credits. So let's see. It invests. Oh, this is big time. So this is like if you invest $12 million in a project and create 500 full-time jobs, and there's even a bigger tier, but this is big. So I'm not saying that if you're watching this you don't qualify. It's just bigger. It's a bigger bar to get over than we typically talk about. But again, that's 12. You have to invest 12 million and create 500 full-time jobs, or it says invest 30 million and retain 1,500 full-time jobs. All right, then we go to Illinois Opportunity Zones, very similar to the Enterprise Zones program, different geographic areas, and some target um, more on a statewide basis, and then others are more specific. It's almost like Google Maps, where you just keep drilling down, and then they just start adding more in very specific areas. So they might see an area that they want to help, but there's a particular area inside that area that really, really needs help, and that's how they can, I think, a lot of times double dip without giving the whole area the same credit because it may not need it. All right, there's let's see. It's an environmental thing. It doesn't have a tax credit though. They have the historic preservation tax credit program. We've had these in other states. I mean, at this point, I don't have any better ratio to give you than 50-50 as far as states that have them. If you're spending money on historic structures, I remember in Chicago, a lot of brownstones, a lot of historical buildings there that you work to preserve and get some incentives on. I love some of that construction that was done way back then. They don't build them like they used to, that's for sure. So if you're involved in any of that, or you think you might have put some money into a historical piece of property, definitely worth taking a look at. Those credits can be pretty big. And I haven't seen that they're necessarily overly arduous to get and calculate. Let's see, we've got, and then the last one is the Illinois Apprenticeship Education Expense Tax Credit Program. Now, I've talked about these before, and if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm a huge fan of apprenticeship programs. I'm like, gosh, I mean, you're fine. I mean, like, not only are you promoting growth, you're promoting hiring, you're promoting people taking a chance on other people, which they can kind of learn how to do and get better at it so that they're not hesitant. They get practice mentoring people. The people that are being mentored get a lot of, so I mean, there's so many good things that come out of this program. I think apprenticeship is a lost art at some point. It used to be very just traditional, where especially for like father and son and men and things like that, just you become an apprentice under someone else, then you would take over. And I know with technology things have changed, but that you don't need to necessarily, I don't need to be a cobbler necessarily if my dad's a cobbler, because I can know more people than 5 square blocks. But I think every generation should apprentice the younger one, just that's my personal view and editorial comment on all that. And I just love when I see this. So they're giving you a tax credit if you get involved in this. This is something you have to get involved with in advance. You can't just like do an apprenticeship and file for a tax credit. You have to find out about it, become part of the program, and then I think once you're in and you're part of the program, you can bring people on part-time, full-time, and generate tax credits ongoing. It's almost like a recruiting young people kind of program, and it depends on if it's good for you. You'd have to look at your own situation, but I love those programs. So, but if you're looking for talent and you're kind of, either you're really watching costs or you just have a hard time relating to maybe people, coming into the workforce or still not in the workforce, just because every generation is different no matter what. These can be good programs because, younger people are always going to have to be part of our workforce, and we can only hold on so long to our own generation. So anyway, that's my commentary or additional commentary on that. So, in Illinois, I would say they got the big ones. I mean, they've got the big credits that we typically like to see in there. Again, just because they're big and more well-known than others, people still miss them. I mean, it's just not, in general, when I look at tax returns, whether federal or state, I just don't see a lot of returns with credits. And if you're a business owner and you are, active, you don't have to be growing at some like Silicon Valley rate, but if you're hiring one person a year, 2 people a year, and you're kind of trying to grow your business, et cetera, you're probably, there's some credits that you might be missing. So And a lot of times you can go back and amend your returns for prior years, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, we'll do, 2019, 20, 21, and then ongoing. And you're going to get, 3 times the credits because we're going to go capture them from the other year. So anyway, so I'm going to wrap this up. Again, like I said, I'm from Illinois, and see, I got this guy sits on my couch and just watches over my office for me, my home office, and he just I don't know why he's smiling so much. Maybe he's an offensive player, but anyway, yeah, I grew up during that '85 Bears era and stuff, so kind of grew up with that tough guy, Dick Butkus, Mike Ditka kind of thing as far as football in Chicago. So I've been a Bears fan a long time. Okay, so have a great day, and tomorrow we're going to go to the 22nd state admitted to the Union, Alabama. I will see you then.